Prices are about to enormously spike all over the nation when it comes to low-cost goods that you're seeing on the shelves at the market right now. The end of the de minimis rule marks a new era in the cost of living crisis that we're going through in America right now. For the longest time, any item that came into the country that was valued at under $800 wasn't subject to any duty or tariff. But now that that's done away with, any item that's above $100 is going to be subject to a 15 to 30% tariff. And the impact that this is going to have on normal, average American lives, not just American consumers, but people who are trying to start small businesses, people who are reliant on manufactured goods that are coming into America that we just don't produce here, at least not at the cost that actually makes it viable for a small business to sell. What that means is that if people are actually priced out of entrepreneurship, that the only companies that can actually sell the products that they were are going to be your big box stores who can survive the impact of these new costs because they can just pass it off to the consumer, or because they can just spread load the impact over all the goods that they have in the store, whether they are made domestically or internationally. Once again, this is something that impacts the American people. This isn't something that impacts foreign governments or companies, because as we've seen from the tariffs, it's not stopping international trade, it's just stopping America's participation in the global market. And new trade relations are being built out of the ashes of our economic relationships with other countries. And it's of great detriment to not just America, but the American people especially, because we are holding on for dear life in an economy that does not recognize the damage that's being done to normal American lives. The impact of the end of the de minimis rule essentially is going to cost normal American households billions of dollars. Does this impact Shine? Does it impact Temu? Yes, but I don't care about that. I care about what impacts the American people, and this impacts them, because this is a protection that has been taken away. And the impacts of this aren't going to be just felt by foreign corporations because, again, many of these corporations can just go elsewhere. Yeah, America is a major market, but it's not the only market in the world. And this isn't going to destroy those companies. It's just going to mean that they make less profit. But American households are really going to be the ones who suffer. American households are going to be the ones who see that the clothing that they need for their children is going to go up 30%. It's American households and individuals that are going to see the cost of rice and spices and flour, or anything else that we get from outside the United States, fruits, vegetables, produce, even meats, beef. We're going to see major impacts on not just the American household, but even the supply chain. Because what we've seen is impact this as a reaction that the world has had to this absurd removal of a protection and a firm guideline that's essentially been in place for almost 100 years. Is that over 30 countries that used to be trade partners with America have but have in fact shut off all postal shipping that's going between their country and ours. This impacts our household directly because our child has special needs when it comes to his diet. And the only good formula that we can get that actually fits him is from Denmark. But now that Denmark is cut off America, we're gonna hopefully find another brand somewhere else because we don't have it in America. Because that's the thing, when we get cut off from the world, when we get cut off from the world economy, it's the people who suffer. Because we're talking about bringing back American industry, but what industry is that? Because America can't support all these industries that the world, the entire globe has been producing, that we've been taking advantage of, that we, in some cases need in our lives, like the right baby formula. And now a lot of us just don't have another option. Because they're not just going to pop up overnight, right? Because it's not just the funding and the technology, it's the infrastructure that we need. And by going ahead and now making a lot of these products that are coming into America subject to new taxes and tariffs is also leading to the cancellation of so many orders that maybe have been waiting for weeks or months at this point. Just because trade with America has been so complicated for the rest of the rest of the world just threw its hands up and said, I've had enough. I've had enough. The world is leaving America behind because America is giving it no choice but to do so. The world will continue to go on and trade with each other. The world will continue to go on and progress with each other. Trade not just in commerce, but also in ideas, while America regresses to a different time and different age where the people didn't have the same protections that they used to. It's a really bad spot for Americans to be in. And it's day by day, things are happening in this country that just means that the prices of things are going to continue to go up. And we can talk about it day by day as the costs go up day by day. But it just seems to be piling up one day after the next. And like I said, these are low value goods. These are goods that normal, middle class, lower class, working class consumers actually purchase and use. Because if you're wealthy, if you're in the top 10%, you can survive a 15% tariff. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, another 15, 30% has been stapled onto the end of the receipt, then there's some things that you're gonna have to start taking out of the cart. There's things that your child wants, that your child needs, that maybe you're not going to be able to afford anymore. And we have to explain to them why it's happening, why the costs are going up. All you can say is that it's going to make the economy better. You feed them the lie, or you tell them the truth that it's all because of greed. It's all because of punishment. Because the kind of celebration that we're seeing from a certain demographic of our population in America now, whenever they get a chance to see the rest of us in a tough spot, tells us everything we actually need to know about the direction that our country is going. And at the end of the day, when we look at the monthly tally of our expenses, when we try to create our budget and realize that there's just not enough there to actually get the things that we need from ourselves and for our families, to pay for our bills, and we have to select what bills we can actually pay for as utilities go up, as taxes go up, as the cost of food go up. We can only take a minute to prepare ourselves for the truth that for the next few years, this is going to continue to get worse, and maybe for more time after that. And that as things continue to decline, that we might have to come to the realization that this is just it, that this is what life is going to be now. Because the wages aren't going up, the jobs aren't coming back, and pretty soon the food is going to stop being on the shelves. So we have to prepare ourselves for the worst, because the worst is right ahead of us. And I don't enjoy saying that because I am somebody with a family, and I'm somebody who is hit with these prices the same as everybody else. And the bindings of this economy get tighter and tighter as the days go on, and eventually those bindings will snap on the population of the United States. This was a mistake.
Hey guys, good morning. So that's right. This was nearly a century-old trade loophole. And while the president already closed it earlier this year for packages from China and Hong Kong, it's now eliminated for everyone. So that means that starting today, all packages coming into the U.S. are now subject to tariffs of 10 to 50% or a flat rate of $80 to $200, depending on their country of origin. So it's expected to impact some 1.4 billion packages each year that used to come in under this loophole that's based on customs data. Now, the White House argues that this is necessary to cut down on drug trafficking and on counterfeit goods. But the change, which officials say will be permanent with no exemptions, will also mean higher costs, especially for U.S. consumers and primarily small businesses. Yale economists have estimated that closing the loophole will cost consumers about $11 to $13 billion annually, as much as $163 per family each year. And it could also mean canceled packages and mail delays, at least in the short term. So over the past week, countries including Mexico, Australia, Japan, several across Europe, you can see some of them on the screen here, they've all said they're suspending shipments to the U.S. as they try to figure out how to navigate these changes. E-commerce platforms too, Etsy and eBay, they've both warned buyers and sellers using their sites that they may not be able to rely on foreign postal services moving forward.